So I'm really excited to be like in touch with you guys.
Oh yeah, actually, like how FBA started is actually like really, really interesting. So like Soumya DM Jesse one day, like that he would love to have a bunch of guys come together in a room and discuss how what we can build on frames. And Jesse responded that he can sponsor pizza for them. So that's how we actually started. Bunch of friends just jamming on what we can actually build on frames. And I guess that was back in 31st January of this year.
Uh-huh.
So we have like out of a group chat, we have came down a lot far. We just launched our hyperserve yesterday, and we are about to set up our based house. It's lot of things happening, and I'm honestly very excited about what we hold for the future. And seeing like the guys shift so much in like so little time is honestly like very inspiring for me too. So it's been a crazy journey.
Love to hear that. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also really like that Farcaster for now, at least from my lens, like it's still pretty open to like different kinds of communities from around the world, right? Even though there's a lot of like US based people, you also have like the Indian community, the Japanese community. I was telling you it's pretty big, South Korea. There's also a Latin American from where I am, like a big community as well, which like to me, I don't know, it makes it a little like feel like smaller, which to me is a good thing, instead of like the other app, the blue app or stuff like that, where it's like just a lot of noise and very difficult to like get any like signal from that, right? So even though like the market is down now, and one can get a little like I don't know, like not anxious, but founders can get a little like what the fuck is gonna happen, etc. But I think that building on Farcaster is really a unique opportunity, and it might even be better for the market to cool off for a few months before we get into the full steam of the bull market
Yeah.
next year.
I think that's the beauty of this space. Like even the larger funds don't even know what's gonna happen like next month or so. So like it's everyone like building stuff, being clueless. They don't know about what's gonna happen like even tomorrow. So I love this space. I love this space.
Yeah, me too.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
me
let's.
too.
I think let's get started. We have a bunch of folks already in. And like first of all, like would love to like get an intro from you, like for all the folks that are from FBI. And so also I had a rumor, like I had a rumor that you are into magic early, in the earlier times. So
I
yes,
am.
I'd actually love to know how that transition happened from magic to music and a bit about you too. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm still into magic. I actually tonight I have my first magical initiation.
Oh,
But yes. So I'll tell you about magic in a minute. But just to introduce myself, like I've been working in technology for like 10 years, something like that. I started out as a tech journalist. So I wasn't a like person who came from like a technology background. I wasn't like a tech nerd growing up. But then, at a certain point in my life, I realized that the big revolution of our times was actually in technology. I always thought it was gonna be in art. Like throughout the 20th century, you have like, the 60s, all the avant-garde movements like surrealism, all those things. But then I realized, no, it's technology, in my times. So I started as a tech journalist because I was writing. Then I started working for venture capital firms here in Argentina, where I am from in South America. So basically, I would like make content around like about the startups and all that stuff. And I knew about crypto back then, like in 2013, I was writing about Bitcoin and stuff like that. And I eventually found out about Ethereum. I mean, I found out about Ethereum when it launched in 2014, but I didn't pay a lot of attention. So I kept on working in the VC industry for a few years until I started getting really into the Ethereum community in Buenos Aires. That's the city where I live, which is like a really like strong Ethereum community. Like bunch of the leader companies in the space are from Argentina. Like I don't know, like Open Zeppelin, POAP, Nomic Labs, stuff like that. So I would go to this like very small meetup like 20 people, 15 people, something like that for years. I mean, for a couple of years, like ETH was at $100. Everyone thought it was dead, but I knew it was like really, really special. So I kept going until when the COVID came and I suddenly was locked at home. I was like, this is my chance. I need to like get fully into Ethereum and like forget about VC. So I started writing for the Defiant, which is a DeFi newsletter run by Cami Russo. I became like a collaborator there. Then I was hired by DeFi Pulse, which I don't know if people remember, but like they invented the TVL metric. So it was like a, TVL, like a analytics, website for DeFi. So I was the project lead at DeFi Pools for 1 year. Then I worked at Element Finance. Now it's called Deltec. So it was like one of the pretty like, I don't know, biggest projects in DeFi back then in like during the DeFi summer or after the DeFi summer. So I was head of content and community at Element Finance. We launched our protocol, so we launched our token. I really wanted to have that experience because I had always like, I had never like launched a protocol. So that was like, to me, it was like the holy grail of working in crypto is like launching a protocol, having that experience. So after that, I got burned out actually for like the second time in a couple of years. I would like, I couldn't do it, couldn't work. So I took some time off, like 6 months. And the same day I left Element, I was here at this place. I was a little sad at first, and then I was like, I might as well just do what I love. What the fuck am I doing in finance? Like, I'm not a finance nerd. What I really like is music. Like, I've been a music nerd my whole life. It's my favorite thing. So I might as well like try to do stuff in music. And I remembered about Cooper Turley, who's one of the co-founders at Sonata. I remembered he had a newsletter this week in music NFTs. So I was like, oh, so there is something already happening in music and crypto. So I might, be able to do something. So I started traveling to all the events, like NFT events, instead of going to the DeFi events like I used to like meet the music community, basically. So I started like meeting people, Zoratopia, like the sound people, got together with Cooper and went to DEF CON, organized an event there for music, had a bunch of other like cool stuff while I was like in a sabbatical, for 6 months. And and then eventually we launched a media platform with Cooper called Invest in Music, which was like covering basically on-chain musicians with a podcast, a newsletter, and some other content. And a few months ago, like 2 or 3, we were, feeling that everything was really stagnant in the market. Like there was no secondary market, there wasn't a lot of activity. The platforms in music were not like, they are not like composable, so they don't collaborate between them. So it was like a really stagnant, and to me it had become a little boring as a market. So it was like, what the fuck should we do? And Michael from our team had the idea. He told me one day like, hey, what about if we launch like a music client of Farcaster? And I was like, oh, that's a fucking great idea. So that was like 2-3 months ago. We decided, okay, let's close Invest in Music, let's sunset Invest in Music, and let's like build Sonata. So we built the MVP in like 5 weeks to launch it during Farcon like 2 months ago. And then like, so the first version was like a clumsy MVP. And after that, we've been like, really working on it. So we're at a nice version of the app now, and we are starting to work on the V2 and Magic. If you want to know about Magic, which is something that's a great interest of me, like simultaneously while I was going through these like experiences about like getting more into DeFi and all that stuff, I started practicing like chaos magic, which is basically you create these sigils, which are like rituals that you do to have like an impact in reality, right? To transform reality. So I started making these to transform my own consciousness, towards certain goals and desires that I had. And they started working basically. They all worked. So it was like, dude, this works. I think I've been doing magic since I'm a kid, but I hadn't realized. So I started like really studying, and now I go to this like group every Tuesday where we study the occult, basically. So we are studying magic starting in the Renaissance. So it's not illusionism, it's actual magic, like, alchemy, those kind of things. So today I have my initiation, so I have my robe. I had to make my own robe,
Yes.
So I use magic to transform my own consciousness, instead of using magic to, like, to I don't know. I wouldn't make magic to make Sonata the largest project on Earth, because it might work, but it might unbalance the universe. So I just use it for myself.
Damn, that's actually like really cool. I didn't know like you were also a shipping machine back then, back in the ages, because I still like I know like the era in like in early 2022, 2021, Cooper being the guy leading the torch for the music creators and music NFTs. And that's when I like heard about Cooper and what he was doing with music. And that's actually when it struck to me, because I was like, we are focusing a lot on a single art form itself back when it was starting out, and focusing just on like JPEG. That's it. But I feel like music is an art that that is so variable and so wide enough. And there was actually like a great market that Cooper actually captured. And love that you guys have actually created a client on Farcaster. But I do feel like there's some story behind the name Sonata. I don't know why. I have a feeling that there might be some story about the name. How did you
About the
guys come
name,
to it? Yeah.
we actually used AI, to be honest. We
Oh.
were like looking for names. So Michael, who's the part of the team I was mentioning, he had the idea, like one of the co-founders, he had the idea for it, like, let's make a music client. And we were
Yeah.
looking for names, like something related to music. Nothing was like, we didn't like any of the names. And he was using this tool with AI, like tell me words like that are related to music. Sonata came up, and he said, like, what about Sonata? And none of us were like, oh, it's the name, it's incredible. But we were all kind of like, oh, I kind of like
Yeah, it
Sonata.
works.
So yeah, so that's why we kept Sonata, because like it felt
Yeah,
it felt it felt well. And you can also like pronounce it in other languages as well. So like
it's very
Sonata in
easy. Yeah.
English, in Spanish you can say Sonata. So I speak in Spanish, so like I was like, oh, okay, people from my country will be able to pronounce it as well. So and it's like, Beethoven. Well, I mean, not only Beethoven, it's that like type of movement sonata. So, but yeah, that's the story behind the name.
Perfect. So I was like, when I was using Sonata and reading more about Sonata, one thing that really stuck me is like you guys mentioned how you help new and like upcoming artists with discoverability. And I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to like get a bit your side on how you actually like help, because tipping tipping notes on like for just sharing music, it sounds utopian. It sounds like it is very fantastic. But I would love to know like how it helps upcoming artists with their discoverability issues that they usually have on like these centralized platforms.
So we are like only scratching the surface of
Yeah.
discoverability at the moment with Sonata. So the way we help today is like it's by actually stimulating, or not stimulating, but incentivizing curators to share music. So basically, I would say, our discovery helps not only unknown musicians or less known musicians, but music in general. And in this initial phase of Sonata, I would say we're more focused on the curators, to be honest. So like we have our node system, which is it's a points system which works similar to Degen. So you get an allowance every day that you can give to others, and others like can give you part of their allowance as well if they like the music that you share. So the way it works is songs with a lot of notes, have a space in the trending tab, which that part helps with discoverability. And I would say more than that, what really helps with discoverability, sorry, are the channels that we're integrating. So if you go into Sonata, you and I were talking about the techno channel. So there are a bunch of like channels that are like techno and music like that, are like more, I would say, like not generic, but you can like include all kinds of music. But We also have other channels that we're going to integrate soon, which are more community-based. I mean, all of these are communities, and we really want to empower those communities to showcase new music, empower the curators that are behind those communities, and basically we want to rely on them to bring new music to the world. So one of the things we're going to start doing soon is we're going to start integrating new channels that are more community focused in terms of like underground musicians or less known musicians. So for example, we are looking into integrating Música W3, which is like a Latin American collective. So they share basically Latin American musicians that are on chain. And that's what we're doing to help with discoverability now. In the second phase of Sonata, we're going to like really, really go down the rabbit hole of expanding crypto dynamics with these communities so we can make a more robust system for discoverability that's basically incentivized by our node system.
Got it. That actually sounds interesting. And like, I want to come to a point like, as you mentioned, that how the nodes actually help new and upcoming artists. I want to know like how like what creators, music creators, can do on Sonata. Like apart from posting the links of the songs that they recently created, how can they empower themselves in this new and growing community of around music? And how can they become a face on Farcaster ecosystem?
So I would say today we are more focused on curators than artists. So
Okay.
like for example, today if like let's say you and I we like the same song by I don't know like Latasha, for example, she's an on-chain artist. So both of us share the same song. People can give you tips, people can give me tips, but those tips don't go to Latasha today. So my vision for Sonata is we are first going to focus on curators. We are first going to focus on making a vibrant economy within the platform. And as we start reaching scale, we will start creating markets around songs as well and artists. So first phase is creating markets around curators and their communities. Second phase is creating markets around songs and albums and artists. So what I believe is that if we start integrating so if today we would decide like, hey, every artist should get like a percentage of the nodes or something like that, which would be like a reward and incentive to them, or other, ideas like, okay, an artist should have the priority to share their own songs, stuff like that. I think that would actually kill our activity on Sonata because most artists, they wouldn't claim their profile. Most artists would not get involved because it's small market for now. So there were a couple of experiments in that like direction. There was one really interesting experiment called Song.tech, which was launched like 1 year ago, something like that. So they basically created markets around Spotify links, similar to Friendtech. So basically, you would like upload a song, a link from Spotify that would create a market for that song, so you could buy and sell tokens, and then 10% of that would go to a wallet for the artist. So created with their social media account using SongTech technology that they could claim afterwards, right? What happened in practice is no one claimed it. Not even one artist claimed it. So there were like 20 or 30 ETH lost forever, basically. They're still lost because no one has claimed them. So we really thought about like when we were launching, like should we include something like that, like from start? And the decision was let's not do it from start because like there are a lot of complexities around it of how to make it work in a way that stimulates the whole economy that we want to build on Sonata. So that creates a positive loop with all the other like with curators and with the whole dynamic. But I feel we still need to build some more stuff before we start including those kind of dynamics. But in my mind, first Sonata is like we're going to create a really vibrant economy around curators and communities. Sharing, creating dynamics around our nodes point system. And once it gets vibrant enough, we will start creating markets that can really help musicians take a cut of the nodes that are being like distributed on the platform.
Got it. So like, just a second. Yeah. So And like, how do you actually? So I feel like Notes season one is also like coming to an end now. It's closer to the end, and would love to know like what do you have in mind for the next phase or the next run? And as you mentioned, you have already dropped like a couple of hints of like how you're trying to like move ahead in that direction. And like, can just like I just want to like get some alpha out of you. Like, what can we accept in the upcoming months from Sonata?
Yeah, of course, of course. Happy to tell you and happy to share the alpha. Uh,
Yes.
so like the main goal is we want to like create a lot of crypto dynamics around music. So
Okay.
basically, what we've seen in the market, or what I've seen in the market, on-chain music, music NFTs, is it's basically a copy of what we have in Web two. So like same dynamics in the end. So like I don't know, I really like all these platforms I'm going to mention, but at the same time, I believe they are too similar to Web two platforms, and that's why in the end there are not great markets created around them. So like sound, like Sonu, like what others, like Spinamp, like all these protocols or projects. They are great. They did a lot of great stuff, but like they have a lens of like, which is very similar to Web two. So what we want to do is we basically want to do something that's really crypto native for music. So we want to start integrating a lot of crypto dynamics. So that now if you go to Sonata, you can just like tip, like listen to music, and that's pretty much it. But like our main goal for like the next like couple of months, so I would call that season two, it's to start implementing a lot of crypto dynamics. So the first thing that we will do is the channels that we have now. So we have like 10 channels, something like that. We integrate like 3 more channels every week. So we want every one of those channels to have their own wallet. So we are basically talking to a couple of partners to make that possible for the channels. So every one of those channels can start generating a percentage of the nodes. So let's say like the rock channel is driving, I don't know, 1 million nodes every day. So 10%, for example, we haven't like decided on the exact percentage, would go to that channel.
Got it.
Um, so that's like the first thing that we want to start doing. And then we will start adding other dynamics as well. Like, for example, if it's an on-chain song, you can collect it from the feed as well. And we want to start creating like a lot of incentive dynamics around basically granting notes to communities that are building their music communities on Farcaster, and we want on Sonata and Farcaster, and we want more people to create their own communities and start working with us basically, because like there will be a reward for the value that they are driving in the platform. So that's like our
Got it.
immediate, next step. Really
Got
empower
it. So like,
communities
I
building
have
on
like
Sonata.
sort of a question for how channels operate right now. So I personally know like a couple of artists that are from like that are indie artists, that are hip hop artists, and they are trying to get on chain, and some of them are already on chain. So how do you guys like actually like curate channels? So do you guys cater for demand that is already out there on Farcaster itself, or do you cater to demand that's not right now on Farcaster but might be on Farcaster soon, sooner or later? How do you guys decide? Like as you mentioned, you are actually creating 3 channels every week right now. So
No, not
how do you
creating,
guys
but adding existing
adding?
channels. Yeah.
Okay,
So I really like the question. So I'll tell you a couple of things about this question. First thing is like, I don't want us as Sonata to create taste. I
okay,
feel that if you're a platform who creates wants to create
hmm,
taste, basically you leave out a lot of people, right? And you
yeah,
start getting these things about like what is good music, what is bad music, what are the styles that should be here, what styles should not be here. So I feel that is a like total valid path for a music platform. But the way I see it is I want Sonata to be a platform that embraces all styles, that embraces all communities, and that empowers people from around the world to discover the music that they want, not only the music that is curated at the platform level by Sonata. So like even though we have our trending tab and we will like work to like we are going to continue working on surfacing music from like a trending algorithm and a few other things like that. In my mind, the most important thing and the most important driver for taste and for music discovery are the communities. And I basically want to empower them to be the main taste driver for Sonata, like at a global scale, right? So the way we are adding channels today is like we follow like a lot of channels, and if a channel has like at least 30 casts, like 30 songs that had been casted in their channel, and they have been active for like a few weeks, and the number of people who are casting in the channel, it's kind of diverse. So like if it's like not just one person, we just include them basically. We don't have I would say like a very strict way to do that. It's not that like, oh, I'm gonna add this channel because like I prefer it. No, it's more like let's include channels that are active. And we first started with like the most active ones. So that's why you see music, and techno and a few of those. But we are looking into integrating like smaller communities, like I was telling you, Música o Letras from Latin America, the prog rock channel, for example, which is like I'm a huge fan of prog rock, and we haven't included it yet, but we will include it. So in my mind, if we empower communities through our node system, we can create a new economy around music that it's not connected to like royalties, it's not connected to streams, it's not connected to merchandise, but it's actually a way to create a market for curation, which hasn't existed yet. Like you have as far as I know, in the history of like music platforms, tech music platforms, you have a bunch who worked with curation, like I don't know, Hive Machine, and there are a few others, but they were not like marketplaces, right? They were not like platforms connecting two sides of a market or three sides of a market to like make transactions between them. So that's an actual like platform where you exchange value between like two actors or two sides of the market or three or whatever, can be more than two. um so the way I see it is we have a golden opportunity to actually create that by having a for now point system.
Yeah, I actually love like how you guys are incentivizing right now, and it actually makes sense. So right now, correct me if I'm wrong. So suppose if I'm a new upcoming artist and my category doesn't exist on Sonata right now, and if I get started with creating community around my art form or my music style on Farcaster, and people start to appreciate it, I join more people into my journey, and I think that's the most feasible way to get yourself or your category featured on Sonata.
100%. I mean, any artist today could like create their own channel, and
Yeah,
and if that channel has activity, we could like integrate the channel. Because
absolutely.
like I was telling you, we will like continue to integrate channels a lot. So I have like my view is more like Android, like Apple
Yeah.
versus Android, just to like to use that mental model. So Apple is like very close, very strict. It allows a few apps. So Android like build on top of us. We include everything. We are this massive marketplace for music discovery. And yeah, so like any artist, so I was mentioning Latasha, I don't know, like Yoshiro, like whoever wants to create their own like community channel, music channel, as long as it's a music channel, so that means that there is music being posted in that channel, we could integrate it. And like I was saying, we are going to like soon launch a way for channels to make a percentage of the notes that they are driving. So that would be an immediate way in which they could like start capturing some value themselves
I
via
think this
notes.
is an alpha for all the FBA guys out there to create a channel and talk more about
Yes,
Indian music, Bollywood music, and get
yes,
rewarded in future. Maybe who knows? Yeah.
of
And
course.
yeah,
Like
man.
I would really love having like Indian music. I'm not a neck. I mean, I am a fan of classical Indian music, actually. So I don't know a
Yeah.
lot about Bollywood and stuff, but I like, like all the crazy instruments like the sitar, the sarod, all this like
Yeah.
all that kind of music. So please create like channels, for music, like Indian music, and we will like once they get activity, we will integrate them. And yeah, I want
Absolutely.
Sonata to be like really, really diverse. Really a really open place for music. There's one quote I really like by Duke Ellington, which was like a master genius musician, one of the greatest in the 20th century. And he was asked like what he thought about like musical styles and stuff, like how what were the differences to him. And what he said is like the only difference in music is like good and bad music. So the rest like doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I live by that like motto with music. So like I always want to discover new stuff, and I want more people to bring their taste and and their music to Sonata.
Absolutely love it. So apart from this, how else FBI can like contribute to this journey?
So like I know like your Indian collective like has been creating content and stuff like that. I think like since now we are like I would say at the sun not yeah kind of like the sunset of the first season. What like we didn't really call it a season, but like we finally have like we still have a few bugs and stuff like that, but we finally have like the app that we wanted to build. Uh so now we are starting to think about this next phase. I think one very cool way you guys could get involved is like I know you guys were creating content for other projects, like you mentioned Hire and stuff like that. I would love that same dynamic for our season 2. So we're going to start building it pretty soon. And if you guys would like to get involved in creating content around that, we will happily allocate, a percentage of nodes to every creator like creating content. So I think we could like talk about details on how we can do it, but like not only I'm open to do it, but I think it would be really cool. So like that's an opportunity that we
You know
could make
what?
it happen like
I
in the short term.
just saw a video being posted on Dracula from the summer camp group on Sonata like a
Oh really?
couple hours back. That's yeah, a couple
Send
hours
it.
back. I'll send it. I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you.
Is that
And
person part of the
yes,
of the community?
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Send it, and we'll reward him.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll send you. Also, I'll now open up the stage for like anyone who has a question or I wanted to share anything they might have created. So yeah, the stage is
For
your
sure.
guys.
Don't be shy. You can ask me whatever you want.
Yes. Okay. I don't
Or if
think like
someone wants,
guy.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, Akhil.
Okay. So I thought someone was asking. Maybe like just not really a question. I think the last answer kind of helped on how people can contribute. But would there be a place where people can start building on top of Sonata anytime, where anyone can contribute uh, in terms of like building fun projects on top of Sonata, right? Is that sort of thing possible for builders to contribute?
It's not possible now, but I'm
Okay.
glad that you're asking that, Akhil, because like it's not possible right now, but we are building it. So like the first phase, like I was telling you guys, it was like launch the MVP, make the MVP stable, like test our initial assumptions around like key interactions and key value propositions in the app. And then well after that we are going to season 2, etc. But we we'll build
Lovely.
Sonata so it's open source, so it's composable. So like other projects can build on top of us. So like in my mind, the way Sonata would work is like if like other projects could build things on top of Sonata, and if you don't like Sonata, you could build your own like I don't know like for example you only like electronic music and you want to create like an app that's only for electronic music. You could create it on top of Sonata and only like use the channels for electronic music. So we are building towards that. We are still like not there. So it's not that today you can like start building on top of us, but we're going to do it in that way. Like we have, I mean,
Lovely.
I think we need to be totally composable, open source. We are open source actually already, and that's one of the. I mean, if you don't go down the composability path in crypto, to me, it doesn't make sense to build in crypto. Because like, what's the point, right? Like the way to create markets in crypto and create large markets, it's based on composability. So on like protocols and apps being able to exchange value between them without permission, right? In a permissionless fashion. That's why, or part of why DeFi Summer, exploded, and all the DeFi industry like became an industry, because like most of these protocols, they were just open, so you could build stuff on top of each other without asking permission, and creating all these like exchanges of value that create network effects and really big market. So I have the same view for Sonata. We are, as far as I know for now, I think the only music client on Farcaster. I think maybe Songcamp has one, but I'm not totally sure. But like in my mind, like I don't compete with anyone. I'm
Got it.
partners with everyone. Even if
Yeah, like
someone launches
people
something
can
that
still
looks
like
like
people
us,
can build frames and stuff. For like how
You know what?
how many?
Actually, what I'd like to see built on top of Sonata is something like Spotify Recapped or Apple Recapped, for how like for that depicts my music that I've shared on Wopcast. It is actually a good idea. I might note
I
it
like
down
that.
right
I
now.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe in December, like when we're closer
yeah,
to the end of the year, we can do the Sonata Wrapped or
yeah,
something like that. I think
yeah.
that's pretty
Maybe we
cool. I
can do
always
it like
enjoy.
end of every season. Why not?
I like that. I like that. It's a good idea. I'll take it. I'll take the idea.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It's yours.
yeah, so like, but that said, Akil, like if there's someone who wants to build with us and they can't find a way to do it right now, like please just like, get in touch, because we're totally open for that. So for example, I don't know if you guys know Oscillator. Oscillator, it's run by Jack Spallone and RAC. And basically they are creating this like infrastructure to share data around on-chain music, open data. So like we are going to be one of their partners, for example, sharing our open data through them, with the same idea, right? Or the same like vision of creating like an open market that, I mean, an open industry that can turn into a significant market instead of like competing for a non-existent market. So like we are going to like dive more into this like kinds of things. And if someone wants to build something on Sonata at the moment and they don't know how to, or they need help, or they cannot do it because of the current state of our tech stack, just like get in touch, with me, send me a DM on Warpcast. I reply to like everyone. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days, but because we get a lot of messages, but outreach.
Absolutely. And Mariam has a question, like any thoughts about Sonata playlists?
Yes, communities are the new playlists
Yeah, absolutely.
for us.
I think the
So channels are the
channels,
new playlists.
yeah, yeah. Mariam, you should actually browse the channels. And if you are a techno fan or a newbie, you'd love it. You'd love it. I can personally recommend it.
Yeah. So a lot of people have asked us about like so I speak with a lot of like community members, and there are different kinds of community members, but a lot of them are ask me about like features that are like similar to Spotify or similar to SoundCloud. Like, hey, could we have a playlist or like stuff like that? And it's like, uh, we're trying to create something with new dynamics, right? So like, playlists are channels, or channels are the new playlist, and all these kinds of things.
Yeah,
So I mean, there's no point in us being like a new kind of Spotify, or a new kind of SoundCloud. That's not like, it's not interesting to me to build it on one end, and on the other end, like you already have those apps, right? So we're going to look into creating like more native experiences around music. So for example, instead of playlists, you have the channels which are like curated by communities who have like expertise in this music. And like we're just getting started. Like I was telling you, we will start like integrating them with our own wallet and stuff like that. So I feel that will make the quality of music even better and more diverse, right? So those channels should become more active. Or that's what I'm expecting, at least.
yeah. I also feel like channels are the new meta. They are like the open group chats that you can never able to access it before. It's like that.
Yeah,
So it's nothing gatekeeping. So it's all yours. You are open to explore how much you want.
yeah. So
Also,
so yeah.
Ash has a question. What's your favorite genre of music?
Oh, I love that question. So I love a lot of different genres of music. I would say my favorite genre at this time of my life is German electronic music from the 70s.
Oh, from the 70s.
70s. So crowd rock
Okay.
or kosmisch
Okay.
music, it's called.
Okay.
So it was this like wonderful, incredible generation of musicians that started in the early 70s throughout the 70s, and they basically changed music forever. So they kind of like they didn't invent electronic music, but they were like the real pioneers of electronic music. So
Oh,
like I don't know, like Tangerine Dream, Ashra, Klaus Schulze, who else, like Harold Bloom. You know, there are so many. So all these guys played and created electronic music with analog synthesizers, which I'm a huge fan
got it.
of analog synthesizers. So I would say that is my favorite genre at the moment. And then I really like EBM music, so B as in boy. So it's like industrial, really dark electronic music. So those are my two favorite genres at the moment.
You know what? I'm gonna create a channel around psytrance. So I'm really getting excited about this topic,
Yes,
and I'm gonna
yes.
create a channel around psytrance.
I like
So yeah,
psytrance too. Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. So I've been into like mostly like I love horror and true crime. So that's sort of like got me into psytrance.
Nice, nice. I love that. Do you have like crazy raves in India? Crazy parties, like,
Oh yes, yes,
yes.
yes, yes. So if you know about like this small town in Himachal Pradesh, it's called Kasol. I don't know
Hmm.
if you have heard about it. So it's basically an Israeli settlement, and in the hills, and they organize some of the craziest raves that I've attended. I've only been there like twice or thrice, and I always try to like attend at least one rave, like every time I go there. And that's
Nice.
originally how I gotten introduced to this genre of music. And I'm in love since then. So
That's so cool. So cool. I will go to
yeah,
India
you
someday.
should.
I don't know when.
If you get a chance to come to India, you should attend that rave. There's
I
like
will.
one happening every weekend, so it's like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, you do organize rave parties in Argentina. Damn, that's so cool.
Every now and then I do, yeah. So I was organizing raves for my birthday actually.
Oh,
So I organized one last year. So I started with a small one, like for 60 people, with
okay.
a lot of analog synthesizers, like I was telling you. So like two bands that are like really, I mean, yeah, really important in Argentina, but like underground, but they play like electronic music, like a rave, but with synthesizers. So a lot of keyboards and like
Oh, yeah.
knobs and stuff like
A
that. Very
lot of
fucking
manual
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, so I organized one of those. The first one was small because it was like a proof of concept, you know. And the second one, I organized it last year. It was like for 220 people in this warehouse where like the same, yes, synth heaven, exactly. Where Klaus, which is like one of my favorite bands, they played again. They are like the main artists in my raves. And I had like May McLaren, who's like at this really dark, very dark DJ, and we were at this like very dark warehouse with red lights and like a lot of like I would say unique people.
Got it.
And I was going to organize one this year for my birthday in May 10, but I wasn't like fully seeing the concept in my mind. So the concept that I have, and I think I will make this rave happen maybe in November. So now it's winter here, so in November when it's hotter, I want to organize a rave in a palace. Um,
Oh, damn.
or a mansion that's similar to a palace, and I want to create this
Yeah.
like crazy concept around like having this large table like Alice in Wonderland, with
Oh,
crazy
got it.
food and stuff like
Yes.
that. And I want this band Klaus, the one with the synths, like to be like playing inside the palace with like the windows behind them.
You know what? We
um
should do this in the next Farcon. You should do a rave in the next Farcon.
we
I'll be
should do a
totally
rave
down.
in fun.
I'll fly down just for that.
You know what? Like I actually have been thinking, should I organize like all the raves that happen around like crypto events? Like I like them, but they are not like more experimental, you know?
Yeah,
Like I like them.
yeah. You
So
should do one.
I might organize one. Yeah, I will do it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like
I'll
I like
just
the
fly down,
attitude.
just student that event.
Okay, you will
Yeah,
have like
absolutely.
you're on the list already.
Absolutely perfect. Cool then. I think we have now come to an end. Thank you, Sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for doing this. And
Thank you
excited about
guys.
like what you guys are cooking for Sonata in the next months.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was like I casted like I was excited about getting on this call with you guys. So like thanks a lot for taking the time for like giving us you know a space to talk about what we're building. It means a lot. And yeah, let's keep in touch, like you know, doing stuff, and let's talk
Absolutely.
about like season 2 and you know content you know for Sonata and what we can do in that regard.
Absolutely. Also, I'll keep reminding you of the rave too in the DMs.
Yes. Please do, please do. You can
Yeah,
also do it
I'll
on
add
the
Seb to
timeline if you
the
want.
Telegram, by the way, so that like
Yeah, absolutely. You should. Yeah.
anyone can ping him about Sonata and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, please do, Akhil. Yeah, share my contact with everyone.
Yeah, I'll add you to
Perfect.
the summer camp Telegram group, Seb. Like there are everyone who's part of summer camp is there to chat.
Oh, perfect.
Yep,
Cool. So I'll get in. Yeah, for sure.
done.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for attending this once again.
Thank you guys. Have
Bye. Have a great
a
day.
great rest of your
Have a good
week.
one.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Bye guys.